Hey guys, I'm back with some book recommendations for you. So let's get right on started. We can make this one a little bit shorter because I have three. I have the top three book recommendations, and I've sort of gained and gleaned from other books a lot of things. And you can always buy more books if you'd like. But what are the top three that I really think any tarot card reader that's going to consider themselves an intuitive reader has an understanding of, because it goes into different levels of understanding of the tarot. Each of them does. So let's talk about this. Plus, you have to stop using the books after a little while and go with your own intuition, and that comes naturally once you feel more comfortable with the cards. Okay, so it's just like a steps process. You wouldn't tell somebody to go ahead and operate like, oh, I know we just did the gross anatomy where we did like the cadaver and like thing in medical school, but now you're ready for a real person. We're just going to throw you in there. It's great. You're going to learn just by being involved in the situation. So it's like the same thing. It's going to cause the same internal reaction because we, as readers, we value the healing that we're bringing to people. So just the same as doctors, they value the healing that they're bringing and they wouldn't want to or be ready. So let's dive right in. This is the Ultimate Tarot. This is the Ultimate Guide to Tarot is what it's called. I just call it the Ultimate Tarot book. So I forget that it's got those two other words there. So the Ultimate Guide to Tarot. And I really like this one because it's got full color pictures that match the classic Rider-Waite. Remember how I showed you from the last video, this little deck right here? These pictures match it like perfectly. So if you happen to have another deck, okay, one that's different, you know, I started out with the different decks. I bought this even when I had my Doreen Virtue books decks. I bought this book to help start having me integrate the knowledge from what they did with tarot and how they wrote their tarot deck, made it a little more gentle. I started to integrate that with what Rider-Waite was. So it's got, you know, the Fool. They called theirs the Dreamer. That was the first card in. And this card looks like a dreamer. Look. He could look like a fool or a dreamer. So it's just, it took a deeper understanding for me of the archetype of the Fool for me to be ready to be like, I can do a reading where the Fool can come up and I can rock that energy for the client, you know, or I can be like honest if they needed to hear that energy. So they're just really beautiful. So it's really nice. You've got a couple of pages for each card. So you've got, this is really cool because you have understanding the elements of the card. You've got the astrology behind it. You've got the Kabbalah behind the card. You've got the different planets that are attached to it. You've got the numerology link. So how it links up to other cards, which you can look at these. These are like partners in crime, the different cards. So this goes into some detail. It also tells you some information based on upright meanings with the home, relationship, career, money. So it gives you a lot of different facets for the different cards, especially these major arcana ones. And then of course it gives you the reverse meaning. And on the next page, this is only for the major arcanas in this deck, but the next page gives you cool spreads that you can do where you pull out the Temperance card, and it's called a qualifier. When you pull a card out of your deck on purpose, this is a little bit of education, and it tells you about that in the book as well, but it's called a qualifier. You're qualifying the reading to be under the energy of Temperance, okay? And then it tells you which cards, what other cards to put in your reading. Well, it doesn't tell you which cards to put, but you draw cards, you put them in your reading, and it tells you what those cards mean, and you interpret them with the meaning of the card for yourself. So it's a really cool, the minor arcana doesn't have that. It's a little bit like it doesn't have its own spreads, but you still get an understanding of what's going on with regards to reverse meanings, upright meanings, and a little bit of the astrological connection that has to do with these different cards. So gosh, if you like astrology, this is a great way to kind of to meld into that. Next, I want to talk about this book. This one here is called, my son must have been. When you work from home. Just wait for that door to shut. I'll just shut it. Thanks, guys, for being patient. So this one is called 78 Degrees So it's 78 Degrees of Wisdom is what it's called, and it's a tarot journey through self-awareness. This one doesn't have, it's just black and white pictures. I've got highlights all through mine because I'm like really involved in understanding it. But this one, just like the title says, it's this journey through self-awareness, and it's really helping you understand the psychology behind the tarot cards. And she also gives upright, reversed and upright meanings, and things like that. So it's really beautiful. And then her spreads, the different spreads, she's got one of my favorite kind of different spreads that I do sometimes. That's a work cycle pattern, and it really tells you some detailed steps of what you need to do in order to. Sometimes the Celtic cross, for example, it gives you a lot of information, but it doesn't, it's like, okay, now what? It's like, oh, well, let's do another reading for that. It's another hour. You know what I mean? So a good reader can give you the now what. I've learned that. Like, at first I couldn't give people the now what. I was like, here's your reading. Ha. And I helped them understand the reading, but then they were like, now what? And I didn't know what to do. Well, that comes with practice, apparently. And, I'm there, which is really lovely. But if you, for yourself, that's why I'm not going to teach you this one in this video series, because I do love this book. Like, it had a bookmark. Which is a tarot deck. And so this one's a really great one because it gives you a little bit of action items, a little bit of to-do lists. It also, if you're really into the Kabbalah and the Tree of Life and understanding that, you can do a whole reading where you use every single card in the whole deck. I did the reading, and I haven't even been able to contemplate it or integrate it, so I'm not even sure. Because I think I need a month or something with kids, and it doesn't happen. So, but this one would be a resource for a long time, especially after you're a couple of years into your tarot practice, when you're like, okay, now I'm ready to go deeper. Now I'm ready to get real with this. At first, it's not novelty. I mean, there is some deep and in-depth meaning, and you're getting real information. It's not novelty information, but at a certain point, you're ready to take that deeper dive. So that's that one. Now we'll go back to the lighter side. Kitchen Table Tarot. I just love this one. This is my more recent book that I fell in love with. Like, when I wanted to dive into tarot, I was like, let's get another book, Melissa Cynova is the author, and I just really love it. She's candid. She gives you a lot of good opinion that has come through years and years and years of reading tarot and seeing how the cards show up for different readings for you. I know that the author Rachel Pollack, this gal they've talked about each other in their books. So, they have different insights. She doesn't share as much of that. It's really more into the psychology and diving into the card and how you can have it dive into you. Whereas this one's like, okay, and this shows up in readings when you've got depression. This shows up in readings when you've got something like this. So it gives you a lot. I love that about her. And I've gone through and highlighted all sorts of things. So those are my top 3 books. I just wanted to keep it at 3. I was like, okay, pick 3. I have a bunch of other books, and they're quite lovely. And if you were to contact me and have us do a one-on-one tarot reading session, I could definitely give you some tips based on your own journey in tarot on what books that you might want to go even deeper with. So that's an option. But for right now, these are the top 3. So enjoy them. See if your library has them. But ultimately, I think you're going to want to get them, especially the Ultimate Tarot. I mean, you really need this one. So enjoy that. Have a great day.